We're passing into fall, into winter, and in a lot of places that means rain. And we've been getting a lot of questions about fenders. So I thought I would give you my 2 recommendations for a clip-on fender. And I know first comment's gonna be, why not use full fenders? We live here in Montana, and it's actually a semi-arid climate, so not as rainy as when it was when we lived in Portland. So typically we don't get a lot of rain, we do get a lot of snow, but for those occasional showers or when the trails are wet or the roads are wet, we do like to use clip-on fenders. So yes, full coverage fenders are better to keep you dry, but if you live in a place where it only rains occasionally and you want the ability to take the fender on and off, these are 2 great options. So the first option is this one, and it's by Topeak. It's called their Defender XC11-29er. So as the name suggests, it's built for a 29er wheel. This bike, the Crestman Bore, is 650B. Fender is compatible with multiple wheel sizes. It actually suggests buying a fender that's slightly larger than the wheel that you're going to use, just so it gives you more coverage. You know, there's nothing wrong with a little bit more fender than you would actually need. And because it does cover a larger tire size, I can move this to a mountain bike, and I've also used it on a fat bike. The way that this fender attaches is that it does clamp onto your seat posts. The clamp itself is pretty expandable, so you can put it in more traditional road size seat posts, as well as the more oversized mountain bike seat posts. Another cool thing is that there are tons of different points of articulation. You can move the fender up and down, or a little bit further in and out, and really dial it into your specific bike. The way I have it set up right now is not ideal. I would actually probably lower this and try to get it as close to the tire as possible to prevent any sprayage from coming up. Another big advantage, like I mentioned, is because it is designed for a bigger tire, it just covers more potential spatter. So this is one of my favorite ones in terms of a large clip-on fender that goes on your seat post. I've owned this one for multiple years, and it's been on many bikes. So again, the Topeak Defender something 29er. Another clip-on, or rather strap-on fender here is by the brand, unfortunately named Ass Savers. It's kind of weird to say strap-on and Ass Savers in the same sentence, but there you go. This is the Ass Savers fender bender. And what's cool about this is that unlike their smaller micro fenders, if you will, this one actually works. It's got a really interesting design because it's not designed to clamp onto seat posts like most clip-on fenders. Rather, the fender itself goes between the seat stays and clamps onto the down tube. I know what you're thinking, you know, doesn't it do the same thing? It does the same thing, but what this allows you to do is, if you are going bike packing or have a Paradise style bag or any kind of bag in the back, it doesn't compete with that precious seat post space. So I'll show you really quickly how this goes on. You kind of squeeze it through over the brake bridge through the seat stays here, and the strap secures around like so. A couple things to note about this design is that the edges may abrade your frame, so they do actually provide some invisible 3M kind of film here, so it doesn't rub the paint off. But as you can see, it's pretty cool. It's close to the tire. It's a lot wider than the 650B tire. It protrudes a lot. There's even some little extra coverage here. So out of all their fenders, this by far is the best. And like I said, if you've got a big seat bag here, you can still run both the fender and the seat bag. It may compress this a little bit, but this does have some flex and elasticity, and it'll still work fine. Some potential issues with this is, you know, you do have to squeeze it over your brake bridge. So depending on some frame geometries, that may be a little bit easier or a little bit more difficult. And you can see here, there's a potential conflict point. If you've got a frame bag, you want to make sure that you can stagger the straps so you can get both on at the same time. But once again, this is the fender bender by the brand Ass Savers. Probably one of the best fenders that they make, and one of the best kind of temporary clip-on fender solutions I've ever tried. So that's it for this quick video. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Have you used any of these fenders? What do you think? What's your personal favorite in terms of clip-on fenders? And I'm actually going to be planning to do more videos on some winter riding tips. I know that there's lots of new people to cycling because of COVID, and this might be your first, rainy or snowy winter. So I do want to share with you guys some of the knowledge that we've learned from years of commuting in the wet. and the cold. So look for that stuff. If you like this content, give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to support the channel. You can buy one of our cool enamel pins or stickers. And as always, keep the supple side down.